Welcome to the Making Up the Numbers podcast. The Making Up the Numbers podcast is sponsored by Hope Technology, J-Tech Suspension, Revolution Bike Park, Ride Southern Spain, Hoell, and the world's finest independent mountain bike magazine, Singletrack.
Hello and welcome to episode 9 of season 4 of the podcast. Episode 8 with Greg Minnaar and Jordan Williams amassed over 25,000 downloads and streams in its first week, and is now our most popular episode ever. So a big thank you to everyone for tuning in, and hello to any new listeners out there. We hope you all enjoyed that episode. You enjoy this one and any future ones. So what have we got for you in this episode? Well, in May 2020, we did our first show with Vali, Hoell and Thibaut Daprela, two young guns who dominated their junior categories and were about to embark on their first elite seasons. Then, in September 2021, we did a follow-up show. Thibaut had just crashed out in snowshoe, ending his chances of a first elite overall. But Vali won both snowshoe races to take her title. In this episode, we'll be catching up with them both about their 2022 seasons. But first, Emily Siegenthaler, it could have been the GOAT talking about 2022. Or maybe it was Jordan Williams' first podcast, which made the last episode so popular. Or maybe it was your jet-lagged team rumours. What have you got for us this time?
I don't think it was jet-lagged team rumours. You mean they weren't true? We don't know yet.
No, we don't.
I don't even remember what I said. I said something. Was it Andy Kolb on
She said all kinds of stuff about Cam. She's going to be furious.
I lost my memory since last episode. And I also lost my memory of the actual episode because I wasn't there because I forgot. Remember?
Yeah. So,
actually, we maybe going to talk about that a bit later, but I heard something about the Nuke-Proof team.
Yeah, okay.
So obviously, Louise Ferguson was a Nuke-Proof already.
Yeah.
So I heard they're going to take her on.
Oh, like full time?
Yeah, and they might take another girl on as well.
Oh, wow, that'd be cool. Another team with multiple female riders, that'd be great.
So that's what I've heard, and I have no confirmation of this, but I think maybe Vera Widman will leave Saracen with Harry.
Yeah,
that is happening.
Nuke-Proof.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a new one. I didn't know that.
So that's
big changes.
I have for you.
Yeah,
always delivering, George.
You are delivering there. Jack, have you got any?
Did we talk about that Nuke-Proof one last time? Because I knew about that.
I think we talked
about it. Did we did
only after we'd finished recording.
Okay. Yeah, I could have thrown that one in last time. I forgot about that one. I'm shit for gossip. I'm too busy. I love gossip, don't get me wrong, but I'm shit for like pioneering it because my brain's elsewhere. But yeah, you're right. It's exciting thinking about who could be going where.
So I was going through looking at the final standings for 2022, and I picked out a few riders who might be on the radar of pro teams. So in the women's, Mathilde Bernard, she was making a real impact until she got injured. I think she was on like a Scott team, but not the factory one. What do you know about her, Emmy? I think she comes from BMX. Is that right?
Yeah. She's coming from BMX. So the first time I've seen her is when I was still on Scott, so ages ago.
Right.
She was a little kid back then. She was like, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 year old.
Yeah.
Just like manualing the whole straight at like some guy's pump track, and I was like, who is that? She was like amazing skills, and I was never seen a girl manual that well, and she was like 8 or 9. And so she went after BMX, she like switched to mountain biking.
Yeah. And
also she's still very young. She's kind of like me, like a really tiny rider. So it's like on some tracks it works better than others. And she has her first injury as well. And I think she's still looking for a team.
Right. Okay.
She asked me about some contacts and stuff, and hopefully she can find something. I think Scott wouldn't take her on because they have Marine, and age difference is not very big, so I wouldn't count on that. But maybe, I don't know, someone else. We'll see. She's a very young and talented rider, so it would be good if she finds something.
Yeah, definitely. Louise Ferguson, you've already mentioned. She got 14th in the overall. I think she did 4 races, I think, but the first one didn't qualify, just kind of finding her feet. But So 14th off 3 races is a really good result. And then there was Anna Newkirk, who, if I remember rightly, was Vali's biggest competitor in junior. There was Anna, Millie, and Vali. 10th in the overall.
She has her own structure with like the team she has with Abby.
Yeah.
And I think they have a low budget from Suntour, so I think it's working well for now. They have the new Swiss brand from IXS Bix, who like is developing a new downhill bike. So it's pretty challenging for them to develop that bike with 2 girls. I think it's a pretty cool project. So
yeah,
I could see them going on with that.
Excellent. So, Jack, you're a few weeks into fatherhood now. How's it going? Are you still getting enough sleep?
Yeah, man, it's going really well. I did just nod off there, but I'm back with it. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's going great. Yeah, everything's still going really well. So we're still really enjoying it. So he's almost on the bike. I reckon next time you ask me that, would have been out for our first ride.
Excellent. So let me ask you a hypothetical question. I was looking through the kind of results and if you could have one of these young riders on your team next season, they all finished around 50th in the overall. As a team manager, which one would you take? So there's Henry Kerr, Paul Busquets, Kaya Hearn, Gaëtan Vige, and Simon Chapelet. Which one of them would you have and why?
Well, I've got to be careful how I answer this because I'm good friends with 4 of them. I don't know Simon. I'm sure he's a nice lad. I've known Henry forever because obviously he's from the UK.
Yeah.
I'll level with you. I actually spoke with Pau a few weeks ago and asked him if we'd be interested in riding for the team. So I guess that answers the question. He's a first-year elite. He's had some really good results. He's shown top 10 pace. He's definitely going places. But with that, Kai, top 10 Mont-Saint-Anne, Henry Kerr almost on the podium at Val d'Isole.
Yeah.
So for me, it would be out of those 3. Gaëtan and Simon are really talented as well, but yeah, I would be choosing from those 3. The interesting thing about Simon is he did very little as a junior. As a junior, he was on United Ride, Couscous's team.
Yeah.
And next to not qualifying quite a lot of the time. And since COVID, he's been getting some results. So it's interesting to see that, it's not always these juniors that are setting the world alight that then go on to have professional careers as elite riders. So it's going to be interesting to see how he can carry that on. Cool. But yeah.
Which, Emmy, if you were to pick in one of those, which one would you pick? These hypothetical.
Pau for sure.
Yeah.
It's like my little boy crush.
he's a good looking lad, isn't he?
I really like him. I think we always talk to him and we're like, I think he's always smiling and I don't know, he has a great personality and he's like so like I like his style on the bike and he's like a tall guy as well for like a junior, but I think he like makes most of like his stature and I don't know. I just like the way he rides and I mean the other guys, I don't know Henry that well and Kai I'm also a good friend with his sister, but I think Paul is my favorite for sure.
I know Henry quite well because his dad races in our category at the races. Well, he doesn't really race. He hasn't really raced since Henry's been on propane. But shout out to Greg. And I think he's done a bit like you, Jack. He's done his degree now.
Yeah. So big respect to Ben Reed as well for sticking by Henry while he went through university. A lot of team managers would have just sacked him off. But Ben's supported him on that team for 4 years. Henry's got a master's degree, I believe, in engineering, but he's a switched on kid. He's gone all the way through his uni while racing alongside of it after miss races for exams and stuff. And I believe it was either this year or last year was his first race fully back on it after graduating. And it just shows that the distraction that those qualifications put on you by the way he's come out this year, getting the top 20s and showing that he is capable of pushing the podium. So yeah, he's a lovely kid. He's a great rider. It's going to be exciting to see what he can do moving forward.
Without wanting to give anything away, given that you're trying to pull a team together, Jack, is there anyone else out there who you think is underrated? They've got all the skills, but they haven't managed to put it together yet. Or is it just, this is racing, it's about putting it together?
There definitely will be. I'd need to look at a list of names because I'm shit with shit like that off the top of my head. But yeah, for sure, there will be some riders in that pack who, Ronan Dunn was one of them. Yeah. Until Snowshoe, he was always one of the most impressive riders on the track, and it was always going to be a case of it's a matter of time until he either wrecks himself or he has that breakthrough result, and thankfully it was the second one. So yeah, there will be more, and it's the big problem I have with this sport is there's just so few places for those riders to be supported and be developed, and whatever happens with the changes from Red Bull into Discovery and Warner Brothers taking it over, I just hope that whether it turns into a kind of Formula 1, Formula 2 kind of system, or whether they just become more teams able to take more riders, I just hope it increases the amount of support available, because it's such a good sport. There's so many youngsters coming through now. It's ridiculous. I don't have time to coach them all. Like, I do not have enough hours in the week to coach a number of juvenile and youth riders that want coaching. So it's so exciting for the sport, and it's so sad to think that by the time they get to second year junior, unless dad's willing to fund it and able to fund it, they'll just have to fade away. And it's a shame. So hopefully that'll change.
Yeah. And Emmy, is there anyone you can think of?
There's a Swiss rider. His name is Yannick Bechler. He's like qualified a couple of races last year. This year was injured for most of the thing. But like he was like showing like top 30, top 40 pace, and he has literally like no support. He was this year on like that Scott B team, but I mean, it's still like quite an amateur team. And it's this bit of a sad story. His father had a big accident and he's in a wheelchair now. So like it was life altering kind of experience last winter. So I think for him, all in all, it was a really hard situation to be in, because his father was like very active on the motorbike, on the bike. He would go with him at all the races, be his mechanic, so it was a hard situation. And he didn't make World's team as well. And that was like, well, that whole shitstorm with the federation happened because I didn't agree with that decision. And he showed in Vali like he could qualify. So I think it ended up like, I don't remember, but he qualified around 30, 40th. So it was a good response on the bike. But I think he's very good. And there's Austin Dooley as well, who
the American
is
kid.
Maybe raw speed. I don't know, but he's very consistent for his age, like, and that's very impressive to see. So it's a bit different than maybe a Pau, which has raw speed but can't really be consistent. And Austin is the opposite, and we roll with him in Worcester as well. So he's like a sweet kid, and he could be like very good in the future as well.
You make a fair point about Austin. The other thing to like support what you've just said about the consistency, raw speed thing is 2021, he didn't have that pace. So now he's faster with consistency. So if he makes that jump again, all of a sudden he's going to be knocking on the door of the top 10. So interesting.
What you were saying before, Jack, about the young riders coming through. I never stopped believing in Luke Williamson, and he won the last National of the Year at the Revs, clinched this National Series with it, and I hope that gives him the confidence for next season, because I think there's a rider in there that could be top 30 at World Cups.
Mate, there is for sure. Like I say this to most of the lads I coach and girls I coach, like, Luke was, what was he, qualified 13th or something like that, Fort William. Like, once we all get to that level, like me and Dan have been riding together for 3 years, and if you put the stopwatch on it, me and Dan will be very similar. He came 10th at Maribor because that weekend everything went well, it all worked. My point is, there are so many people on that list of about 100 riders who can do it, but everything's got to align at that time. So Luke is fast enough. Luke can do it, but can he do it on the day? That's the exciting thing about it.
So in the last episode, Jack, you announced that you were unfortunately parting ways with Commencal, and that other teams were too. Do you think that might mean the end of the Commencal 100% team? Because that'd be quite big news if it does.
As far as I'm aware, that team is going to kind of change. I think some of those riders are going to go on to a Commencal team run internally.
Right.
And whether the team run by Piche then becomes a team with different sponsors, I think that's what's happening, but that's about as much as I know. I don't really know who's going where or who's involved with what, but yeah, as far as I'm aware, that team won't look the way it does next year.
Well,
from Cam, I have some infos about that because obviously Commensal talks a lot, and she's like good friend with the Iniguez brothers. So I think Millie was searching for a team because she didn't know if Piche could go on with another team, but Commensal is definitely not with Piche anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think it was Millie and who else is on that team? Suarez is leaving, I think.
Yeah, so Angel Suarez, Millie, and Hugo Frick-Stallone, and then Thomas Stack and Greg Williamson.
Okay, so Frick-Stallone is going with someone else of Commensal to do the team. I think it's Matteo Iniguez maybe. And
I think Tom as well. I think. Maybe
all three of them are like stylish team and stuff. So Millie is trying to like see if Piche is still be able to put a structure together with another brand.
And I know Greg's mechanic, and from what I'd heard, Greg's been talking to a large number of people about his options. And last time I spoke with him, no decision had been made. So I know what Greg's like. I'm sure we'll find something, but who knows what.
100%. I was also wondering about Charlie Harrison. It's been a rough few years for him with injuries. He was 8th at Snowshoe last year, but then broke his finger at Fort William this year and hasn't kind of shared anything on Instagram since then. I think when Loris joined Trek in 2021, if I remember correctly, Reese's spot on the team was under threat because they had 4 riders, which is quite unusual. An American brand, how important is it to them to have an American rider?
A pivot American, I mean.
Yes.
So you can answer that question better than we can.
Well,
you can guess.
I think for Trek, there's very important to have an American rider, and in my opinion, it's as a mountain biker, it is easier, or it's like an advantage to be an American rider on the market because most brands are like the American market is very big.
Yeah.
So that's why we had Elliott for years. But for us, it's a bit different because Pivot gives almost all the liberty to Bernard. So Bernard decides who he wants to be on the team. And if someone's American, it would be better. But with the dynamic that we have with the Kiwis on the team and the UK part, sometimes, you don't need it as much because Eddie is like very more credible. So they found someone English speaking that can do the job. But I don't know about Charlie either. I've heard rumors that he's going to stop racing. I don't know. So
I remember when we had, I think it was when we had Reese, and this was before you even joined the podcast, Jack. It was the end of season 1. I'm sure he said that like Charlie's family are firemen or something like that, and Charlie's going to go and be a fireman. But
he's extremely religious, isn't he? And I remember reading posts along the way whenever things have kind of gone wrong, injuries or whatever, where he's kind of been a bit nonchalant, just like, whatever. Remember Gwynny back in the day? He always used to say, well, I don't really
God's
care
plan,
because I've got God and my family and I'm all good. And that I get a feeling Charlie's a little bit like that. And he's, as you've said, he's had a few rough years. He might just be looking at it and going, fuck this, I don't want to do this anymore. Because shit, I know how that feels. Halfway through last year when my shoulder feels like it's going to fall off my body. You're like, why am I even doing this anymore? But I do fucking love it so much. So I'm going to keep going if I can. Like, so, but he might have just had enough.
So have either of you heard anything further from ESO in the last couple of weeks?
Not a thing.
No.
Not a Scooby, George. Nobody's got a fucking clue.
So really,
we got to trust the system, haven't we? They're a massive company, so
really random team rumor. Really, really random. Win Masters to replace Rob Warner.
Where did you hear that?
I can't remember.
You have too many beers and hear it at football.
No, I don't know where I heard it from, but it makes sense.
I mean, think about what a Muppet Rob was back in the Freecaster days. A good one, obviously, but with the training he then had, he's become the Red Bull Rob Warner. So Wynn's pretty media trained already. So
he's got the charisma as well, hasn't he? You can't have one of the GMBN guys doing it. It's just
He's got the race knowledge as well. He's very interested.
Yeah.
In women's racing and junior racing, junior women's racing, like he basically like is interested by everything that has to do with our sports. So I think
he'd do a good job.
Yeah.
You have a word with Eddie for the next episode?
I could.
What you'll
I don't
find
know how
out,
much
we
they
don't know.
talk to each other.
Just a lot of nonsense.
So
too busy skiing.
right, okay, and developing houses from what it was.
If you can call that skiing, because it's more like doing backflips on skis and crashing.
He's a shit skier, isn't it? It's funny though.
But he just started. But they're like these guys are insane. They just like barely know how to do a chord, like park, but they just do like double backflip.
Just fearless at everything he does, isn't he?
Fearless.
Absolute legend.
So the big news over here in the UK since the last episode dropped was the guys at Revolution announcing the closure of the park in January due to disease affecting the Japanese larch trees that make up 2/3 of the forest. Yeah, it's a heartbreaking video to watch. I was on the first uplift the guys ever did in 2011, and I've been friends with them ever since, and they've supported me and the podcast from the start. And I just wanted to say a big thank you to James, Sasha, Finn, Tim, Joe and Linda for that. I was going to do a special episode of the pod with them all last year, go and record it in Clondinock to celebrate 10 years of the park. But like many ideas I have and many promises that get made around the podcast, it didn't get done. But I am hoping that once the guys have a bit more news that we can get that show together and talk about the future as well. Jack, you were at Revs yesterday and I'm there next weekend. Tell us a bit about the park and what it means to you and why you choose to do so many of your coaching sessions there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was the same as you, George. I was there at the start. I think I was there on opening day, but honestly, that long ago, can't remember. Just been going there all the time. And I was thinking about this the other day because when I'm there now, I'm usually there working. And I was standing in the forest the other day, I'd got some videos that the kids come through, and I was standing next to one of my free lap things and just looked around the woods and I was like, shit, this isn't going to be here in like 2 months' time. And it proper like got hold of me because winters doing laps down Farside has genuinely helped me have the career I have had. Because like in the UK, we don't have that many places to do good training on a downhill mountain bike. And over the years between, say, 2013 and COVID, basically, I'd spend a lot of days going the revs and just lapping Farside on the GoPro and just doing the runs. And that kind of value that's given to me is potentially like, a big part of my career. And now it's obviously helping me coach these future young athletes who are going to hopefully have great careers themselves. And to think that from January it's not going to be there anymore is like, it's what you said, it is heartbreaking because this is a tiny sport and there's only a few bike parks in the country and we're losing one of them. So yeah, same as yourself, huge shout out to everyone involved, all the staff, all the people there, and they will be missed.
Definitely. Okay, well, we all hope the guys can get something together, be that in the Nog or elsewhere, as they sure do produce some fantastic trails. On a brighter note, we'll be back with 2022 Elite Women's World Champion Vali Hoell after these messages. Valentina Hoell, welcome back to the pod. How's it going?
Thanks, all good.
Excellent. Straight out of CrossFit, straight onto the pod. Was it a tough session?
I think so. We do lots of Metcon right now, so I'm not used to heavy breathing.
What's Metcon?
Well, it's just like a bit more endurance-based stuff, so it's good for me though, so it's fine.
Okay. Does anyone like doing CrossFit? Is this a Cecile Ravenel initiative, or is it something? It's not something you've chosen to do?
No, I think my mechanic influenced me a bit more on that. So.
Yeah, I was surprised. Cecile would never do CrossFit herself. She never really used to go to the gym at all.
No, but she changed a lot. Like now they even go for fun to the gym, and
good.
It's
I was
sick.
going to say she looks like that through just riding. That would be amazing. So you've also been doing some dirt jumps with BMX champion Laura Smulders. Was this just for fun, or is that part of a bigger plan?
Who knows?
Rampage, here we come.
Well, I think it's more, not rampage-wise, it's more in the other direction. Maybe a bit more hardtail time than big jump.
All right, cool.
All right, Vali, so 2022 then. It started pretty well. Second place at Taruka and then second place at the Brioude World Cup in France, where you did have a mechanical. And then you arrived in Lords with the number 1 plate. as you're going along this elite journey, you're certainly ticking things off already. Were you happy with where you were coming into the 2022 season?
Yeah, I mean, it was a super early start. When was it? Portugal was in February. First World Cup in March. Like, not a lot of, well, I guess I had way more bike time than I used to have before. So there was like no excuse to not do well. Definitely, like, I was still buzzing from the last 2 rounds in snowshoe, and I just wanted to do well, and maybe put a bit too much pressure, or like I had big expectations. So, well, 4th place at the first World Cup was not what I wanted to, but it was so tight as well. So honestly, I couldn't complain. But yeah, I mean, not what I wanted, to be honest.
Yeah, sure. Did you have a strategy coming into the season? Because we think we heard somewhere that you wanted to focus more on winning individual races rather than just being consistent and going for podiums. Is that true?
Well, I guess I just wanted to test like how far I can push, because maybe it was the wrong strategy, I think, because I still need to work on my consistency a little bit more, but I just wanted to see how much I can push. But I kind of over pushed it like 4 times in a row, and like it really sucks at a World Cup, because you can't really do many mistakes, because every time you fuck up a final, you just have less options for good overall. So I don't really know what I did. I think I just had the wrong mindset. Like, I wanted to win so bad and wanted to impress other people and all my sponsors that I somehow just couldn't do my race runs.
Okay. So you just mentioned Lords. You were the fastest qualifier, and that was with a time that would have won the race. But then you finished 4th, 1.6 back, green at split 3, but then lost a little bit in the final 2 sectors. What happened there? Obviously, you were disappointed. Talk us through it.
Well, such a long time ago. I don't even
you got to try and remember.
Definitely, I think I lost the 3rd spot in the last corner. That's 100% sure. I was so scared about crashing in the last corner again.
Yeah.
So I like slammed my brakes super hard, and I don't know. I did some weird things where every time I did well in qualifying, I changed lines for the next day, and I did it in Lourdes again, and it didn't work out again. So maybe that's something I should not do in the future, like stick to my lines. If I win qualifying and I feel comfortable, why change it? Like, just go faster.
Yeah, you've answered your own question there, I think. Okay, so 2nd at the National at Fort William to Nina. And then from there, I think, did you have a week-long trip to Dovey Bike Park? Is that right, with Red Bull?
Exactly. Nina kicked my ass at the BDS in Fort William, big time. So I was quite shocked, but well, it is what it is. Then we went for Red Bull camp. It was the first time Red Bull hosted this kind of athlete camp thing. It was quite funny, because like all the juniors were invited, like Phoebe and Gracie, and Rachel was there. So the goal was to do timed runs, but it was just the weekend before the World Cup in Fort William. So I was not really keen to push and save my energy, because Fort William is so physical that I did not really want to push. And also I didn't really want to get my ass kicked by Rachel just the week before. So it was good for my I guess self-confidence to not show my time and just enjoy riding and have fun and do some whips and
sure. Fun. Have you ridden in the UK much before? What did you think to the bike park at Dovey?
Oh, it's my 3rd time already at the Dovey Bike Park, so I love it. It's cool. The uplifts are quick, and you have so many different tracks to ride, so it's good.
I'm going tomorrow. I've only been once before, surprisingly, given we're not that far away.
I've only been once as well.
Yeah, the last time one of the lads I was riding with broke his collarbone on the 3rd run, so I've done 2 runs down it. So I'm most excited for it.
I'll tell you what, it's been that long since I've been there. It was pre-COVID.
Yeah, same.
Wow.
Yeah, same.
Wow, so they have so many new tracks. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, I do need to I'm just always working. I just never have time.
It's that little you have a kid, so even worse.
that has given me more time. I don't have boots.
Oh, good.
I can't do anything. Like today, I was just like, fuck it, I'll go ride. Like, Sarah's got this shit locked down, so I'm just it's been great. I'm gonna have more.
So, Fort William, I'm a little bit confused here. I can't remember if it was the National or the World Cup. I think I saw you at both, but at one of them, I saw you on Thursday and Friday, I think, if it was the World Cup. And we chatted briefly, and you didn't seem very happy at all. Was that the World Cup or was that the National?
Probably both.
I knew that was coming.
You seeded second at the World Cup and then crashed out in your race run, but still got fifth. Tough weekend?
Yeah. I don't know, I just crashed again. But it was my first crash. I didn't really think about it much. It was just like, okay, I crashed. It's fine. Still on the podium. I was not far back on the top three, so that was actually sick. It's also good to know that, like, even if I crash, just carry on, because you can still do a decent result. And when I crashed in Fort William, because it was quite far at the top, I was like so pissed for like a minute long and thought about stopping. And if I would have carried on, it would have been a better result. But I guess that's what you learn.
I went back and watched it before this afternoon, and you crashed just after you'd gone under the gondola, wasn't it? You do that right as you go under the gondola, and it was the next left that you went down in. But you had a couple of moments just before that. It was like it carried on, and then you went down. But you were pushing, weren't you?
Yeah, I tried to have the fastest Mercedes-Benz split, whatever it is. So I was going so fast because I knew Nina would be so fast on this track. So like I gave it all, and it felt sick. Like I don't remember like riding that fast. So it was good until I crashed. So.
Yeah, right. When I think I went and looked at the splits, and I think you and her were pretty much neck and neck until you went down. So Nina put down, that was possibly the run of the season. That 5:14 down Fort William. She seems to have some secret sauce on that track, but obviously you've got it as well.
Well, who knows? I mean, all the teams I think most of the riders spend some time before the World Cup on this track. So I guess the more runs you do on it, the better you are, because it's just so long and you can test yourself and prepare really well. So I wonder how it's going to work for next year when we have World Champs there. Going to see some really tight race kits and
You're not wrong.
And it's in August next year, so everyone's going to have loads of time to practice, because normally when it's in May it doesn't open that long before, so there's going to be a lot of people there right up until August, I imagine.
I wonder if Rachel will come back for it. I've never even considered it until just now.
Pretty sure she will, but I don't know, but I have a good feeling she'll try. She's been strong in the past there. So yeah. So you are national champ in Semmering, and I think you were also national champ as a junior. I've done national champs this year, and I think it's a pretty cool race. What does the national title mean to you?
Well, it's a hard question, because I'm not really a big fan of our national team federation, whatever, because...
Well, it makes two of us. With my own.
So on one hand, I actually don't really care. It's more like, I don't know, sometimes it's even an issue, because then you need a jersey, then you don't have the jersey in time, you get a fine by the UCI like I did last year. Then I was wearing the national jersey by accident at national, so I got another fine last year. So I got 2 times a fine for wearing it and not wearing it. So I was like, oh, I'm over it. So I didn't race last year. And then this year I did race, because we ordered the jerseys already with the national sleeve, so I had to race.
Yeah, obviously.
How much pressure was that sat in the start line, knowing the jerseys had already been produced?
Well... it was all right. There's not so much competition in Austria yet, but in 5 years it's gonna look different, because there's some really, really fast girls coming up, and I'm so stoked, because they're so steezy on the bike, and finally there's something coming, and it's great to see.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about these camps a little bit later. Coming back to Fort Williams, I think we talked about that on Come and Ice podcast as well. I think you made some changes to your bike at Fort or after Fort William. What were you looking for? What did you do?
Yeah, so I guess everybody saw that we are on some black box products. And it's the first time for me that I get involved in all the testing. And obviously it takes some time to develop a good product. And probably the first few versions are not where it should be for World Cup racing. So I just had to like get used to it. And yeah, I think we were a bit wrong at the first 2 World Cups. It was just way too stiff for me, coming from a 35 to a new 38. Being super stiff for a girl as well. Like I really struggled with arm pump, and I just couldn't ride. I think you can see it on the videos pretty well that I'm like bouncing off all the rocks which were on that track. So I struggled a lot. And then I just gave Matt my bike the weekend before Leogang to ride it in a bike park, because that's what we did when we were on YT. He had the exact same bike as I had, and he exactly knew how the bike is reacting. And with the new session, he didn't had the chance to, so I just gave him the bike. And then after the day of riding, he was like, now I get it, what you mean. So it was a bit of a miscommunication for a few weeks, but we got that dialed. And I think at the end of the season, we also got some new stuff for the black box, and we just we worked into the right direction. We also started using the telemetry system, and he could react better on my feedback, and I was a bit more patient, and it worked out at the end.
Cool. Then Leogang, your home soil race. Tell us about the pressure that brings.
Well, like everybody knows, Leogang and me, we're best friends. It's amazing. I love it. It's fun. Like, it's so cool, and it's nice to have a home World Cup. Like, not many people get the chance to race at home, and it's pretty close to home. Like, I know all the lift people and like the marshals on track, they all know me, and it's fun. Like, even some teachers, they are marshals at the weekend, so it's fun to stop and talk to them. But on the other hand, like, there's so much pressure. Like, you have all the media there, like your face is on every wall, like everybody expects you to do well. And I don't know why people expect me already to win most of the races. I'm only 20, but they were already talking first in elite that I'm going to win everything, but I'm not, because I need to learn how to race and how to get the racecraft. So yeah, I think the home World Cup was just a little bit too much for me, and crashed 2 times in my race run, and I was really, really devastated. Like, it was the first time in my life that I cried because of racing. I think the last time I cried was when I was 8, when my grandma died. So it was really, I'm not really I'm not really emotional.
Yeah.
And I just broke down, and it didn't help that my mom was coming into the finish, and I just couldn't stop crying. It was insane. Like, I was so sad. And then I think the week after there was Crankworks Innsbruck, and I was like so down that I didn't even wanted to race Crankworks. Like, I wanted to go home and stay in bed and I don't know, just be alone. But I guess that's something you learn. But it's also cool that sport can be so important for you, and but you can also have super nice moments which, you know, make you forget the sad moments. It's okay.
Of course, as the more you commit, the more you have reward, but also the more you can be hurt if it doesn't work out, for sure. So you mentioned Innsbruck, Crankworks. You won that race. I think Tracy was racing. Did she win qualifying?
Yeah, I got my ass kicked by Tracy by 4 seconds in quali.
I was like, Vali didn't win quali, she's going to win the race. And then you went to do some EWS. Val di Fassa, you got 10th there. I know the answer to this question, but I'm asking anyway. So how was the first EWS experience? And also, are we going to see you do more of this next season?
Oh, it's sick. I think training with Cécile Ravenel, you can't not do an EWS. Like, you will always end up pedaling somewhere. So it was sick. Like, it was also really good for me to like turn, you know, put my attention to something else and like experience something else. And face a new challenge, because before I never did an enduro race. I did one in Israel, but it was only like, what was it, like 500 meters climbing, so it was not big, and it's intense. Like, wow. I definitely did not pedal. Every time there was like uphill in the stages, I just put my seat post up, and then later I talked to the girls and they were like, no, we were sprinting. I'm like, oh, it's the first gear, and like seat post up, and was enjoying my day. But it's sick. Like, I'm keen to do more. I'm actually planning to do the ones in March this year in Tasmania, and I think if I prepare for it properly and focus on it, I think it can be quite fun.
Yeah, I think when I looked at the times, and I think you lost like a minute or something on the last stage. And if you haven't
I've never done like the longest lap I did is Fort William, which is like 5 minutes, 20 maybe. And this one was like 15 minutes. Like, I had no idea how to pace myself. Like, you can go for coffee if you want to. I don't know. It's like insane long.
But if you hadn't lost that, I think you'd have been 5th or 6th, something like that, which would have.
I didn't even check. But
yeah. When I looked, I think something like that. It might have been if you'd have done the same as the fastest person on that stage, you would have come 5th or something like that. I didn't go into huge detail on it, but yeah. So Lenzerheide, big crash in quali, but you finished P6 in quali, then you finished P5 in the race, but you were 11 seconds back on Miriam. Tell us about Lenzerheide.
Well, like, the track was sick. I loved it, but I had the biggest crash in my season in qualifying. Oh my God. I don't know what happened there. It was insane. I was like so sore, and then crashed again in my race run. And that was the point where I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, honestly, I have no idea. Like, I was questioning myself so much. Like, I was beating up myself so much, because why is it happening? Like, what I am doing wrong? And I did not know the answer. And I was so pissed and over it that I just had no more expectations coming into Andorra. Like, nothing. I was just cruising in Andorra, and like, I didn't give a shit about any results anymore, because it's gonna be shit anyway. So, but it wasn't. So
no, I mean, So you've done 4 races, like you say, you're 3rd in the overall, but you've been 4th, 5th, 6th, and 5th. Did you lose heart at all? Well, it sounds like from what you're saying, you did lose heart. And what effect did that have? Did it free you up, or did it?
Definitely, because before the season, I always write down a plan, like what my expectations are. And first race should be top 5, which I was. And the next one should be top 3. And I was like even out of the top 5. And it was just not going my plan. And I never really had that happening. Like, okay, last season was kind of the same. I struggled, but it was my first proper elite season, because the first year I was injured. So it was like a learning process. So I thought second year, easy. Now I know how to do it. No, I don't know how to do it. And I was just so over it. I don't know if you would talk to my parents or to Cecile, they would, I don't know. I was just so down. Like, I was so tired of it, of wanting to do well and wanting to show everyone. I think the biggest problem for me was that I wanted to show everyone that I earned this spot in the World Cup. Like, I earned my Red Bull helmet. I earned to be here. That I didn't really care about what I really want to do, and I just want to ride my bike fast. And I guess in Andorra, that's just what I did, because I had no expectations, and I was so tired of what other people could think that suddenly I was just, riding free.
Nice. So, as you just said, Andorra, everything did change for you. Just to recap that, 4th in qualifying, and then you went 7 seconds faster in your race run, getting your first win of the season. How did that feel when you crossed the line and you got that win?
I didn't really, when I crossed the line, I was just so stoked to not crash.
Okay.
It was the first run after 4 runs without crashing, which felt amazing, but I didn't really thought about like the result. And then, obviously Miriam crashed out. She was faster at the last split before she crashed, but yeah, that's how it is. That's how racing goes. And I was stoked to win because it felt so great. And the cooler part actually before was that our junior Tegan, he got third, so he got the first time on a podium, and just how happy he was, like, really influenced me, and I really wanted to have the same and feel the same happiness like he did. And I think just the good momentum that I brought up to the start gate, like, helped me to ride smooth and fast, I guess.
Nice. Did you like the new track in Andorra?
Actually, not really. It's like scary because you need to go so fast and it's so loose and there's nothing really technical. It's like I prefer the all one way more, but we will see what they do for World Champs there. But I don't know. I would prefer a bit more tech, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. So Snowshoe, I think you described your performance as slow as fuck. Is that correct?
Oh man, it was so wild, but I didn't crash, so that was actually sick.
Yeah, for sure. You were 11 back on Cami in seeding and 16 back in your race run. But yeah. I mean, they were insanely difficult conditions. Greg last week said it's the greasiest conditions he's ever known. Did you find it really difficult? I mean, we all did, I think, right?
Yeah, it was insane. Like, I had no practice run where I like finished without like going offline or crashing. It was insane. And also, like, I just can't ride ruts. Like, I don't know how it works. And I don't know, like, I also feel like every time I'm like overwhelmed with a racetrack, I totally forget about working on my suspension. Okay. And that's also something I need to think about next year. Like, even if I struggle on track, still try to dial the bike, because we didn't touch the bike once, and maybe it could have helped me to ride better in the greasy conditions. But yeah, also something I had to learn. And like, I mean, everybody knows Cami is a queen in the mud, so it's impressive, and I hope I can improve a little bit more on that as well.
Okay. So then we moved on to Mont Saint Anne, and obviously Cami had broken her collarbone. Miriam crashed in qualifying and you won that by nearly 14 seconds. That must have given you a nice confidence boost after the week before.
Oh, I was sick. Like, I just love the track in Mont Saint Anne. It's so cool. When we had track walk, I was a bit scared when they added the extra section, because I thought, oh my God, the race run is going to be 6 minutes long. And then actually my first time run was like 5 minutes 40 or something. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so hard. But then yeah, I nearly went a minute faster in my race run, which is kind of cool to see. And also I think for a young athlete, it's pretty cool to win a racetrack like Andorra, for example, but also to be good in Mont Saint Anne, because it's so physical, it's so long, and people normally think, they don't have the experience or blah, 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 or the fitness. And for me, it was just so cool. Like, I really enjoyed the racetrack.
Nice.
Just so you know, I have quite a lot of tracks that are 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
Fort William's nearly 7 now.
The first time I Mont Saint Anne was probably like 6:32 or something.
Is it?
My first year. I crashed 3 times. I couldn't hold on.
Honestly, I think about the girls or whoever like is racing, because it's like so hard, so physical.
Oh, yeah.
To hold on your handlebar for like 6 minutes. It's insane. I think they deserve also a prize for surviving.
So yeah. I hadn't raced since last season, and my first race this year was the National at Fort William, and I hadn't had any bike time or anything. It was just horrendous. It was just, I'd done no gym, no nothing since for all the off season, no exercise whatsoever, and then just turned up at Fort William with a bike, and it was just stupid. I don't know why I did it, because I didn't really enjoy it, but it was like an achievement to cross the line.
How do you hold on? Like, you're not struggling with like arm pump, because like every time I come to Fort William, like I can barely hold on my handlebar.
So he goes very slowly and he tripods down with both feet.
It's not quite that bad, but it was. In my seeding run, I was like, I honestly don't know if I can do a full run without stopping. And then I went that slowly that as I came through, you know that bit where the wall ride is near the bottom?
Yeah.
I actually thought to myself, I'm not even out of breath here. This is great. And I crossed the line, and it was the time was awful. It was like 7 minutes or something. It's terrible, but yeah.
Well, you did it though.
Yeah.
Okay, so dipping back to Mont Saint Anne, you were obviously then last woman down after the great quali, taking your second win, and it did look very composed. Miriam had gone early. Did you know she'd flattered before you dropped in, or not told you?
Yeah, so when I rolled to the start gate, Matt looked at his phone and looked to me and looked at his phone, and I was like, "Oh my god, there's some information." And then Matt was like looking at his phone, looking to me. He's like, "Do you want to have some information?" He's like, "Well, of course I want to have some information if you're looking on your phone all the time." So like, he told me that Miriam had a flat tire, and I should just ride like I did the day before. And I didn't know that Nina was going so fast. So I was like riding like super smooth. I had so much fun, but then I was like thinking, oh, maybe I go too slow. Maybe I need to go faster. Maybe I need to go. So I was like thinking so much in my race run. And then when I crossed the line, it was only 3 seconds. Yeah. So it's always like, you never know if you could have pushed hard or not. Like, honestly, like you always try to give your best, but it's not helping to kind of know that if you ride well, you can actually win, but you're not allowed to go too slow because everybody else is pushing so hard as well. So yeah, I was stoked because it was also the first time I was like doing well in quali and not fucking up my race run. So it's great.
Nice.
Yeah, Cami always said that it's the best feeling when you qualify first and then you win the race as well. Because then when you cross the line, you know you've won now. So it must be pretty special. Yeah, so you came into Worlds Week with also a very bling bike. You always have kind of sick bikes, but this one is pretty sick. Does that help you like to get in the right headspace to have like a sick bike and a sick kit for Worlds?
I actually don't really like having a new bike because it's all new and it's like, I don't know. I'm always scared about scratching stuff, and also like I don't want to have all the attention. Like I don't really like, you know, like having those articles about my bike and blah blah blah, because then for me I still feel like it just puts a bit more pressure on me and people have expectations, so I kind of prefer to not have that. But I guess now it doesn't really help, like you can't avoid it. And it's sick though, like all my sponsors put so much work in it to make me look cool every single race, and really appreciate it.
Well, I mean, you're not the only one to have a brand new sick bike, so I think it's only right that you get one. Everyone gets one almost. So even I used to get one and I was like top 10, so you know, you deserve one, Vali.
No worries. But like, for example, we got like so many bikes this year, like nearly every third race we got a new.
Yeah, this I understand though. I can understand your point.
Like it's sick, but you don't like when you have like a slow start to the season, you're like, oh, I don't want to have all the new stuff. Like, give me some when I'm doing well. So, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. So at Worlds, you seated fourth. Miriam had a great run. You're like 8 seconds back on her. So we talked about you racing on your in front of your home crowd in Leogang, but there it was different. Like, how was it for you to race in front of a crowd that was like cheering your main competitor?
For me, it was fine. Like, it felt like so much better than like racing in Leogang. Obviously, you don't have so much media attention. You still have to do a lot of stuff, but it's not as bad as it was for Miriam, obviously. There was a lot of pressure on her, and I felt like I was a bit the underdog. Also, qualifying didn't really go my way, but also it's World Champs, so it's always like you don't really care, but you do care if you're so far behind, because I thought I had a good run, but then I saw the time, I was like, nope, it was not a good run. So I had a lot of work to do on this racetrack, and yeah, I had bad memories from last year there because I crashed in the last corner and had a concussion and stuff like that. So I don't know, I just really tried to work on the track and spend time on it, and yeah, that's what I did on the extra day of practice. So
yeah, I was literally with Cecile all the time when I was like walking the track and filming. She was always there, and yeah, so obviously I see you ride and you look good all around, and literally found 10 seconds from qualifying to your race run. So like that's a pretty crazy improvement. And you were also fastest on the first 3 sectors, so that's not unusual for you to be fastest at the top of a track. Was the plan to like go full gas and try to hold on to the end, or what was your strategy going into the run?
Oh, there was no plan at all. Like I said,
so funny. I always used to have a plan. Like it's crazy. Like people just go, "Oh, I'm just gonna race my run."
I don't know.
I guess Josh only 20, so that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like every time I had a plan, I fucked it up anyway. So I was like, it's just Worlds. Like, you know, there's another chance next year. Whatever. I don't really care. Blah blah blah. I don't know. Then I went to the start gate and it was kind of chilled, and then I was hoping for a medal, but in my head it was more like a third place medal kind of style. Mm-hmm. And when I was in the gate, 10 seconds before, Matt says nothing, and he was like, "Get them." That's what he said. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly my brain switched, and I was like so into like, fuck yeah, let's go. I don't care if I crash, like, woo. And then I was going so fast. There's like one section where you have like a compression and you go steep down and like you hit a berm, and like I felt so sick riding that one. Oh, it was so cool. And I was actually like 4 seconds up, and then I lost like nearly all the 4 seconds at the last split because I hated those bike park. It was like a steep bit with like bike park turns. I lost like quite a lot there. And then like I always did the jumps fine in practice, like always perfect. And in my race one, like I cased them all. So it was a bit
you were
still the best looking on those ones, to be honest, from everybody else.
Like, yeah, but I cased it. Like I even ripped my pants. So it was
but you still like by miles like the best looking girls on the bottom jumps for sure.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, crossed the finish, didn't crash in the last turn. Great. And there was still Kami. Yeah, Kami was still on top, I guess.
Yeah.
And, just closed my eyes, then waited until Kami finished, and suddenly I was world champion.
Yeah, so tell us a bit what does it mean to you to win worlds in the elite field? Because obviously you won worlds before, but that must have been pretty special.
No, it's sick because it was like so unexpected. Like I said, it was not on my agenda because I thought it's gonna happen when I'm like, I don't know, maybe 24, 25, like when I'm a bit more mature, and I don't know, I didn't expect it coming with 20. So I'm stoked. Like I'm not gonna give it away. Like I'm happy. I'm keeping it, and I don't know, stripes stay forever. And I also feel like it's insane how much attention you get from people for winning just one race and you're world champion. And when I won the overall last year, obviously there was a bit of luck involved, but there's way less attention on winning the overall, even though for an athlete, it's so much better. And like, if you do win the overall, you're the best rider in the world. And if you win world champ, you just perform really well on that one day. So it's kind of a hard mission, but the media loves world champs. So whatever, it's sick. Like, I like it.
No, it's true. I noticed that with Cami as well. Like in Switzerland, everyone talked about her when she won worlds. And this year after the overall, it was way less press and media. So yeah, you're totally right on that. So after world champs, there was still a race that's also a little bit unexpected to have a World Cup finals after the world champs. You were second in the overall. Your first race in the stripes. That must have been pretty cool. So you were in the start gate, and I don't know if you knew. I guess maybe you knew that when you take the overall, but if you get second, you won't. And I guess it was so pretty drained after Worlds Week. So tell us a bit about this experience, that moment.
Well, maybe I'll tell you first a little story that I think I'm the only world champion who didn't party at the World Champs party because I was puking the whole night.
That. You were sick, no? Or something?
Yeah. So like 2 hours after the World Champs podium, I just started puking and spent the whole night on the toilet and died. There was like a weird virus going on in Lishi, and a few teams had it before or during the week, and my whole team had it during the week. And I was so scared to get it just on race day. And like I just got it like 2 hours after the podium. I was like already changed to go to the party. I even went to the party and then I had to rush back because I was so sick.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I was sorry. I
have to go puke, and I was like, what?
So yeah, I didn't celebrate my World Champs party, which was really, really sad. And yeah, I was just so tired coming into Val di Sole. Like there was so much going on, like so much media attention. I had to do so many interviews on the way to Val di Sole, and I had no time to kind of process what just happened because yeah, we packed together the next day. I was like still super tired. In fact, the day after, and then we already had to go to Val di Sole, and I had to do so many phone calls and interviews, and it's sick because I really enjoy this kind of stuff. But also, to be honest, like I didn't care about the last World Cup. Obviously, yes, you want to do well. I knew there was a chance, but I had my stripes. Like that was so cool, and I always said it anyway, like Kami deserved the overall 100% even before she crashed because she's riding so well. And yeah, I don't know, Val di Sole was the gnarliest track I've ever seen and ever had to ride. Like it was so rough. Like I've not been scared, but it was not fun to ride at all. Like it was so fucked. And I don't know, I cruised down in qualis, and then I think Pom Pom had a flat tire, Nina as well, and Kami didn't even start, or she just went through the gate. And then like I had to start last, and it was sick. Like I could wear my rainbow stripes and stuff, but I was so tired. Like I think the virus and just mentally, I was so drained that I was just losing time at the end of the track, and I just didn't want to get hurt. And came into, what was my result at the end? I don't even know.
Third, I think.
Yeah. So yeah. I got third. I was third in the overall, and I was just happy to be alive and that the season was over. And then we had a sick party, and the day after I was sick for 2 months now. So great end to the season.
So I think you said, tell me if I'm wrong, but Val di Sole is one of your least favorite tracks. Is that right?
Yeah, I think when we...
I don't know.
Yeah,
I always had a feeling you didn't really enjoy it as much as the others, but...
I think, was it the only one in your junior ones where you didn't win or something like
that? That's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I said, but I won it the first year. But no, I actually really like it because I prefer more technical tracks because I feel like I can do better on them than on like fast forward ones. And yeah, I don't know, maybe because I crashed in World Champs hard and I struggled at the same section a bit, and I don't know. I think you really need to find the groove and turn your brain off a little bit, which I still can't really do yet. Well, I just need to be confident with riding faster on Alia stuff. I guess that's how I should do it.
So you've already kind of answered my next question, and I'm quite surprised about it because my next question was going to be, Kami's been super consistent this season until the crash. She's racing Val di Sole with a double-plated collarbone. Did any part of you think, fuck, Cam deserves to win this? And I was thinking she's going to say no. I want it. But you did think she should win it, the overall.
Well, I even said it before right. She crashed, because just the consistency is insane. And to be honest, I'm a bit jealous with that consistency because I just can't do it. I just keep crashing all the time, and it's so cool because also I think mentally she's so confident, and I am definitely not. And I guess that just comes with experience and routine, and just to find your mojo, I guess. If you're happy, you're riding really well, and that's something I really admire. Yeah, because also with it's interesting to see with Pom Pom, she's also quite often on the edge. She's also crashing quite a lot, even though she's the same age as Kami, and Kami just keeps riding her thing, and it's always good and perfect, and it's cool. If you can find that perfect, how do you say, your perfect way to ride, it's amazing. And yeah, I didn't find it yet. Maybe I found it a few times this season, but yeah, consistency would be great.
Okay, so I mean, we've talked about it a lot already, but yourself, Cam, and Miriam, you've been in a little group of your own this year, and you all certainly got something out of the season. Cam won the overall. You are world champion, and as you said, you got your stripes. And Miriam won the final round in Val d'Isole to finish the season on a high for her to put the win alongside her Lenzerheide win. Looking ahead to next year, do you think that it'll be the three of you at the top again, or do you see it?
We should not forget about Nina. Nina was like second the last few races, you know, and Nina is so strong, and she's still like really improving her riding skills because Nina is going to be a dangerous one. It's going to be tough, even if Marine and Tanya coming back. Like it's a pretty packed top 5 already, and then we have the juniors coming up, Phoebe and Gracie and Jenna and Yankova. So it's going to be hard for some of the older elite riders to actually stay in and qualify.
That's why I retired at the right time.
And also, like, I can't wait to see some style in the race runs, because like the new generation, they have some good style. Like it's going to be sick to watch.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like Nina and my brain's gone dead. Who else did you just mention? French been injured.
Marine,
yeah.
Thank you. Do you feel like Nina and Marine are kind of a little bit like yourself in that the pace is there and it's just waiting for that consistency and finding the rhythm, and then all of a sudden they'll start getting success as well?
Well, I feel like Nina is consistent. She only crashed the first 2 races, and then she was there all the time. Like, it's scary. They're all so good, but they all have that confidence. Like, it's so cool to see, and also what I really like about like Nina, that she's so happy for other people to do well as well. Like when I won Mountain N or World Champs, like she was so happy for me, and I was like, oh my god, like it's so cool that you're so happy for me, because obviously I still struggle with that, but I guess it's just the way I am. It's my personality, and I'm happy for everyone doing well, but first I need to like finish, process what I just did, and then I can be happy for someone else. Yeah. And Nina is just like a super happy human being, and with Marine, like I didn't really see her much racing since I'm in elite. What about last season? Last season she was also injured, so she was consistent when Rachel was there, right? Like she was up there. She won the overall.
It was starting to build for sure.
Yeah. So
it's rider that crashes a lot. So whether she's getting injured or not, like she just crashed and didn't get injured, and after she crashed and get injured all the time. So we'll see how long she takes to mentally get strong.
Yeah, and then maybe Rachel coming back for some races. That would be sick. Whoa, imagine, it's gonna be super sick. Wow.
It's so surprised me, but you're still only 20 years old. If you look at the last 2 seasons, what you've been through and what you've achieved, all the people, well, not all of them, all the people you've mentioned that you're racing now, probably you would put them as part of kind of Rachel's generation. You know, Tawny, Marine, maybe not Nina, but Miriam, and Cammie's the same age as Miriam. Tell us a bit about the talent coming through, because people, when Rachel was racing and at a peak, people said we're never going to see this level of domination again, and I think we are. I think you're going to dominate like Rachel did. But tell us, I don't think you quite think like that, do you? So tell us about what you think about the people coming through.
I mean, I think you asked me the same questions like 2 years ago, and I think I said the same.
Did I? Sorry, I haven't listened back to that.
It's fine. Like I don't know. For me, it feels like I never really thought about it, because I'm still struggling so much with myself, and like having like a proper race weekend, that I never thought about like maybe doing like a perfect season like she did. I think it's so hard at the moment, because even I think if Rachel had not a great race run, she still won. Where like nowadays, it's like impossible. If you don't get your 100% or like your race run, you're not gonna win, I think. Maybe someone else is crashing out and then you're lucky to win, but maybe you're then second because someone else is gonna be better. And just I think the field is so much more stacked and the level is so much higher that it's gonna be really, really hard, like for sure.
So something I want to ask you, Vali. We're hearing a lot that you're having to work quite hard on your own mental feelings at the races and feeling like you've got what it takes to do what you want to do. And you've said that other athletes have this confidence that you don't feel like you have. Do you feel it makes it harder for you to have that with all the pressure that's put on you externally? Because ever since you were a junior, people have talked about how successful you're going to be. And as with George's question he's just asked, suggesting that you'll be super consistent and whatever, the next big athlete. Do you feel like it makes it harder for you to just get your head down and do your thing with all this external buzz?
Yeah, for sure. First, like I thought I don't really feel it, but now I definitely do because I know how people are talking or writing stuff on the internet, and it's like,
yeah.
But now, like, I already have all the titles you can have, so it's like I tick them all off. Like, are you happy now?
That's why I think I probably didn't think it until you won Worlds this season, and the reason I think it is because, like, Worlds is such a confidence thing. You look at who wins in the men's, for example, Loic and Greg. I'm sure it's to do with once you've won it, it relieves the pressure. You can sit in the start gate and you don't have that pressure on you. And in your first 2 seasons, you've won the 2 big prizes. For other racers to get there, the juniors to get there, they're not going to do it in the first 2 seasons. They're not going to do it. They're not setting times like Jackson and Jordan are in the men's that would podium in the women's. The ones that are coming through, I'm not saying they're not going to be competitive, but they're not doing what you did.
Yeah.
And that's why I think you can see it. It's almost like you're just going to get, when you get to your peak, you're just going to get strong. You might have 2 or 3 world titles or overalls by the time you get there, and you're going to get that confidence that Rachel had of going out and like, it doesn't matter whether I almost win or not because I've got these other wins behind me. And that's why I think you'll dominate. I mean, you're only 20. You're living it every day, but when you kind of step out of it, you can see it building up, and you've done so much. It's really exciting. But you're excited about the future. The kids coming through.
Sure, yeah. I feel like I had to talk with Sven, with our photographer, and it was really cool because he's like, "See, Vali, now you ticked off all the titles you can get. Now you can just ride like you can. Like you don't have to think about winning those things. Now it's just like fucking ride." And I had no energy in Val di Sole to do this, but I think the next few years is gonna be exciting. I'm just gonna improve more as an athlete. Like I'm gonna get stronger and fitter, and I feel like I found my mojo at the end of the season, and I hope this just continues going on. And like I can't wait. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, the other nice thing for you is you can look back at the last 2 years knowing that you've achieved the World Cup overall and the World Championships, having not ridden and raced how you want to both seasons, and you've still managed to do it. So you can now do exactly what you've just said. You can go on and have the career you want to have, racing the way you want to, knowing that you've already ticked those things off and you can just enjoy it. Pressure can almost like filter away now.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's the way to look at it because you've already done it.
How long have you got left to run with track?
We have 1 more season with track. Yeah.
Cool. If I was a brand manager, you would be the number 1 person to try and sign.
Yeah. So thoughts about the future, Vali, with ESO Discovery and everything. What do you think of the whole situation? What's your vision for next year and the years to come?
Well, obviously, I'm a bit brainwashed by Red Bull, so everything they do is amazing. And I really loved it because, I mean, that's how I grew up also. Like, the first time I watched downhill racing was on Red Bull TV, so that's the only thing I know. So obviously I am a bit scared because, yeah, I don't know if it's going to work or not, or if my grandparents can still watch it, or if they need to find a different way to watch it. And also commentary, I mean, they lost Rod Warner, so that's going to be really painful for the age community because he was just the voice of the age. It's, yeah, it is what it is. Like, everybody knows that. And also, like, a lot of my friends, Austrians and Germans, they always watch it in English because it's just way more exciting than like listening to a German commentary. So yeah, I don't really know. Like, I really like to see that there's a bigger brand stepping into, and it's going to be maybe more interesting for other sponsors outside of the industry, like maybe we can get like, a better salary, like make it more exciting, bring it closer to the normal people. And I also heard a few rumors that, maybe there's a bit more money in the sport, that we also gonna race in Australia again, like Asia or like South America, like make it a proper World Cup and not just a European Cup. That would be sick. Like,
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I haven't heard much more, but I think for next year, basically a lot of things are going to stay similar. But in the midterm, I'm excited to see if there are going to be some big changes about venues and stuff, because obviously that's one of the reason I stopped racing, because the venues were always the same.
Yeah.
For 10 years. So, yeah, so we'll see. It's going to be exciting. Tell us a bit about your downhill performance camp that you were running this season. I've seen some stories and stuff and content about that. You guys had a great time, and I know there's going to be some sick riders from Austria in the next few years.
No, I was sick. Like, my plan was always to do like a camp thing, or like do something for the Austrian future, because there's just nothing happening with our national team. And like, I got really pissed about it, because like, why is it so hard to organize something? It's not hard to like, send out an email and invite them for a weekend. So that's what I did. Like, I sent out on Instagram, like, girls could apply, and I chose 5 girls and invited them to our chalet and ride with me for 3 days. It was just like one day after I arrived after Mountain End, so I was a bit tired and jet lagged, but it was fun. And yeah, it was sick, because like, just the speed those girls already have in the bike park, like, they stick behind my back wheel in the bike park. Like, it's insane. And it's so cool that they already have that confidence with jumps. And I think it's really hard for older athletes, let's say, to like learn to get faster, where they already know how to ride fast. They just need to learn to ride technical stuff. And yeah, I don't know, like, the style they all have, like, no one can jump straight anymore. Like, they're all whipping or the suicide or like scrap, and it's so sick. It's so cool. Like, I love it. And I'm gonna do one next year as well. This year was only for German speaking girls, and next year I want to do it a bit more international. Just need to find a good date. So
nice. Yeah, that's exciting stuff. So it's been 2 seasons, last year and the year before, where you started a bit slowly, and then you finished the season on a high note and with a bang. So have you made a plan for 2023 yet?
No plans for next year. I don't know. I'm like focusing now on my EWS in March, because I don't want to die. So that's
yeah, the
my focus
the better you're gonna be.
Yeah, and then I don't know. It's still so far to go until June.
Of course.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Like, everything is fine if I'm not getting injured, or don't, if I get healthy finally and can start training properly. Like, I have a good training team around me with Cecile, and it's amazing. I get really well, like, with Matt, I have a really good relationship now, and we work a lot on the bike, and it's just getting more professional, and I can give more feedback, and it's sick. Like, I love my job and my life, so it's fine.
Excellent. Well, look, thanks for making the time to come on the pod. Very much appreciated. Enjoy the off season. I hope you can get well, and best of luck for next season.
Thank you.
Excellent. We'll be back with Thibaut Daprela after these messages. I'm delighted to welcome back to the pod one of my most favourite riders to watch, Thibaut Daprela. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Oh yeah, all good, thank you. Whereabouts in the world are you right now?
Just at home for the moment.
Yeah, is it Corsica?
No, this is this weekend. I'm going to Corsica for French Cup, Enduro French Cup, and been traveling for the past months, but yeah, I'm at home for a few days.
Cool. So we last caught up around this time last year. You were coming into the off season with the ankle and thumb injuries. Did they keep you off your feet for long?
Yeah, last year I was out to be injured for the off season because it's good in the off season to enjoy and do a few different things. But this year again I just have a little surgery, but just take 2 weeks, and now I'm back on the bike, so it's way quicker than last year.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. I can enjoy now.
I think it was Christmas before you were back on the bike last year. Is that right?
Yeah. It was really late.
So a bit of time has passed now. When you look back at the 2021 season, how do you feel about it?
It was really good compared to this year. But no, I don't know. A lot of emotions and a lot of things. It was an amazing season, and it will be in my mind for a long time for sure, because it's a lot of podiums and good races, so it's good memories, and nothing crazy.
You ended up second in the overall. Do you still look on that back? Do you look back on that now as like a massive achievement, or are you still a little bit disappointed that you didn't manage to get first?
No, it's been over a year now, and didn't think about it anymore. I'm just more in the future right now.
Yeah.
We did already one season after this 2021 and 2022. I did nothing crazy this season, just nothing really good. So now I'm really in the future and trying to work and get better.
Cool.
Just
coming into 2022, after everything we talked about right now, did you have a plan for the 2022 season other than just go full gas like you always do?
No, I didn't have any plan. Just try to be as good as the 2021, or just maybe be a bit better on some point. But at the end, at the beginning of the season, I was not really prepared because I've been late on the bike and less prepared because of these little injuries, but they were quite long for the little it was. But then I just try to ride the best I can, but maybe not as much risk as I took maybe the year before. But it has not worked because I did some less good result. Justin for William was really good, and then I did mistake. I crashed, and I was slow sometimes, just riding too safe, and a lot of mistakes. But I learned a lot again this year, maybe more than last year even.
Yeah, so talking about the races one after another, like the season first started in Tarouca, I think in Portugal. You had a flat tire in your race run. But Amaury, Miriam, and Hugo were all like really on pace and won there. So I guess like this was also a good start for the team, for the Markov team. It had a good atmosphere coming into the first World Cup.
Yeah, for sure. This race was really good. In the quali, I was really fast, but I crashed the last corner. But at the end, my time was really quick. And then was for the final, I had a good run, but I had to stop and do a rerun because the guy crashed really bad. And then in this run, maybe we didn't have to check the bike and stuff, and I had a flat tire. So it was a bit shitty, but it's like that, And then coming to Lourdes, I was really excited. I feel ready, but just 1 week before Lourdes, I had COVID. So just riding low, that was COVID free, but I was really like sick. The heart was like feeling so bad, but I was feeling good on the bike, and maybe a bit too much, and I crashed really bad, but no injury. I was lucky, just 1 week without walking really good, but the rest was good. But it was a big bummer because start the season like that was with 2 crash and 2 bad races was not really good after what I had the last few races the year before.
Yeah, so you're 4th in quali, and like you said, we all can remember your crash in that 3, and I guess George's wrote in the script like, "How's the tree doing?" Because you hit it so hard. It looked like a pretty savage hit. You're a solid rider, so I guess you weren't really phased about that.
Yeah, it was fast crash.
Yeah. Amaury took the win. How, like, I know we talk about a lot with Amaury about this, like when he was on the podcast, like you guys have a good chemistry, I can push each other, but I guess sometimes you still want to be in front. Like he was saying, I still want to be in front of Thibaut, so was it the same for you? Like, were you a bit disappointed when he took the win?
No, absolutely not, because the year before it was not really highest level, and compared to what he did the year before, and I was stoked for him because he won, and it's been quite a while that he didn't want to race. So no, absolutely not. I was really happy, and no, for sure not.
So 6th at the Fort William National, just you and your mechanic working out of the back of a van, which was pretty low key. I was quite surprised to see that, but it seemed to work. And then onto the World Cup. Coming into that race, Amaury was on the full 29. Did you think about going that way?
No, absolutely not. I hate having something in my back, so I don't want to hurt my butt. No, it's too big, this wheel in the back for me. I'm too small.
So, you P2, you were just 4/10 back on Amaury, and it all came down to the sprint. And we asked him about it, and he said he'd be pretty pissed if you beat him in a sprint because he's 5 years older, and you're only just at the start of your elite career. Is sprinting something you're working on this off season?
I work it every year, but for sure I'm getting older, and I try to be stronger. And you need to be prepared for William, and next year it's a world championship. So I hope I will be stronger than him next year on this pedal section.
Are you a fan of Fort William?
Absolutely not. I'm not fan. I really like this track because it's really tough, long, and strange. But I've never been really, really good on this track. So that's why my goal was to be the best prep I can for this race. And I was really stoked about this place because 2nd in Fort William, it's amazing. And even if I was just really close to the win, Amaury has been good for years on this track. So 2nd place was like a win for me in Fort William on this track.
Do you know what I love about doing this podcast is that everyone always told me, "Oh, Fort William is so good, Fort William's so good," and I went and rode it, and I was like, I can't believe people really enjoy this track.
Don't do that, George. No. They're all liars.
Yeah, I know. And now
everyone's brand the train there, and I was like, I wouldn't recommend to any of my friends.
It's no fun.
No. It's long. It's you can broke wheels everywhere. It's physical. Yep. There's wind. Like it's terrible. But you have a good view at the start.
That's a good point.
So when Amaury took the win there, I don't think I've seen anyone ever more delighted that their teammate has won. And it's not just happened at that race, it happened a few times this season. Tell us a bit about, not necessarily your relationship with Amaury, but what it's like being on the team with someone when they are clearly the fastest rider on the circuit this season. Does it add to the pressure, or does it take a bit of pressure away from you, or does it not really affect you?
No, there is no more pressure. It can be just an help because as he is fast every race, if you just follow him and you're as fast as him, you can win the race. So it's pretty helpful, I would say.
Yep. And you follow each other in practice quite a lot, and You share lines?
We share lines, but we don't really like to follow each other, or we don't like to follow anyone, I guess. So we try to discuss and exchange about lines and stuff, but not really follow each other. And yeah, it's not. I don't like that. It's not really helpful. You can see where you're going.
And tell me a bit about the telemetry you've had on the bike this season, because you guys seem to run it a lot.
Yeah. Last year, I think we were rolling more than the past few years, maybe because maybe this year we know more how to use it, and maybe helped us to focus more on the lines and on us than on the bike. So yeah, I didn't even think about that.
And
it's just Arthur, the engineer, he just take care about this.
He just takes the data.
Yes.
Is your bike set up very differently between tracks, or is it pretty much the same?
No, it's pretty much the same every tracks. We just make few changes to make it perfect, but no, we didn't change that much.
So, Leogang P7 in quali in some awful conditions. Then in your race run, you were full attack, chin on the bars near the top, getting wild. But you didn't seem to have any special lines up there this year. Last year, I remember you telling me you had special lines up there, and I think you were like 3 seconds quicker than anybody else at the first split. Tell us a bit about Leogang.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing crazy, as you say. No crazy lines, no crazy speed. Maybe a bit too confident on the track. I knew I was fast on this track, and so it's been quite not helpful. So yeah, really bad race compared to how I like this track. Was really slow. Yeah. Even in quali, P7 was not crazy. And then I crashed in the steep section, but I didn't see me crashing. I crashed, but I didn't. There is nothing crazy on the floor, and it was just maybe I lost the focus on this part. So yeah. Really shitty race.
Yeah, so until that point, until Leogang, it looked like you were trying to like push really hard to win every race. So maybe it didn't feel like that to you, but for us watching, it looked like you were like going really full on. And after that race, maybe there's a bit of change of strategy, and maybe you stop risking that much. But I kind of have the feeling that you're gonna have a different opinion about this. Is it true that you maybe thought, oh, I crashed in this race and this race, maybe I should like...
Yeah, no. You're absolutely right. After this race, it started to be even bad. I don't know how to say, but worse. Even worse. And I tried to stop taking risks, and I started to be slow, and it's been... been
9th in quali in Lenzerheide, 10th in the race, and in Andorra you had a arbitrary quali, then 15 in a race.
Yeah.
So I guess it was not like you were thinking about the overall. It's more like you like maybe try to like find the right balance between attacking, and I know it's not easy. Like of course I race myself, I know how it is, but like how do you like? Did you find it in the end, or like? How is it to deal with that kind of mental stuff?
No, I tried to find it but from Lenzerheide to Mont-Sainte-Anne, I tried to find a good balance, but didn't achieve this goal. So even after Mont-Sainte-Anne, just before Léger, I was still not me. I was riding slow, not really good on the bike, not feeling good. So, and you can see on my results, I did nothing crazy, just in snowshoe because it was wet, and when it's wet, there is no problem for me. But I crashed one more time because I was trying to push as the first races and try to win, not think about the podium. And it's good sometimes just to have a podium. And I think in my head it was just to win because I could have won this race, but it's like that. But no, I was. The feeling and the speed and the good balance between speed and risk and everything was back in Léger. I was really fast in Léger and really good on the bike. But even if I had a small crash in the quali, I think I was really, really fast. But then in final, once again, I was lost between risk and don't want to crash, and I was super slow.
Well, I guess Leger is hard for you guys as Frenchmen as well. We have a lot of expectation on yourself, and especially in a situation where, like, not everything is going to plan this season. Even if you have a good feeling, it's hard to like put it together for race run. Did you feel like that added pressure? Were your family there? Like, was it a bit different than usual? Or not really.
No, for me it was the same as usual. I was just even more angry to have a good race and just show to everybody that I was kind of still there. But and I was really enjoying the track, and I think I was really fast in the practice. Some people were starting to tell me, "Oh yeah, really good, you're fast. It's your time. Go." And I was like, at the start, I was like trying to slow myself, you know. Yeah. And then it was like I was slow on the track, not just in my head.
Yeah, but that's like something that when you told me this, it's like, it makes me think of Bernard. Bernard has been like this for years. He was just like always so fast in time practice, and then it was getting like slightly a little bit faster, but everybody else was getting so much faster, and he was thinking he was up there, but then he was just like not fast enough on race day. So I think it was like it's a struggle for a lot of elite riders to just find your peaking pace on race day. You don't want to take too many risks. Like, you don't want to crash and injure yourself and go over. So yeah, it's very tricky. And
it's even harder when you have been fast. It's even harder when you have been fast and you have been on the podium for a lot of races.
For you, it's different because you've been there, you won races, so.
Yeah, and it was being quick. Like, it happens really quickly. Like, for the first year, for my first 8 years, so it was just my third year in elite, and it's the first year I really struggled on the World Cup, even since junior category. So, you know, it's not a problem. You know, I'm still really young. It was just my third year, and I prefer to struggle now than in fifth year. You know,
100%. The way that the points are stacked as well in World Cup racing, it's almost better to get a podium and then not do too well for 2 races than it is to just be inside the top 20 for 3 races in a row, isn't it? It kind of really encourages you to try and get that podium.
Yeah, I think so. Because like that, you don't lose the confidence of crashing. When you crash, you know, you think a lot. You have a lot of pressures in your head. When you are 10 or 15 and you just rode normally, you know you can do better.
Yeah.
When you crash, you cannot really know what you do because you didn't arrive to the finish line.
Yeah. So at Worlds you got 4th place in quali with a crash.
Yeah.
You must have been stoked with that.
Yeah, I was super stoked. I was like, it was amazing.
Because
it's been good to me.
Yeah, so I had somebody out there who I know, and he messaged me and he was like, Thibaut looks like the fastest man on the track. And so when it came to race day, I was like, come on, Thibaut, this is it. This is your time. But everybody else went quicker by quite a long way.
Yeah.
What have you learned from that?
I learned a lot for sure.
Yeah.
But learned that, yeah, for sure, World Championships it's a special race, you know. You need to be specifically prepared to this race, and you need to be 100% focused and be the fast and take all the risks you can take.
Yeah.
You know, it's what Loic did, and he did it on this day and not in practice or the other days, because the other days you can see it on the track. He was not the fastest man, but on race day he was the fastest, and it's what you need to be.
Yeah.
So it's a good example. And I think my race run was slower than my quali run with a crash, you know. Without crashing, I was slower in the race run and in the quali. So
yeah, I think you were on the same second. I don't know which way it was.
But it's the same. Yeah. It's crazy.
So Val di Sole was going really well, seeded 6th, finished 11th. But I was looking at the splits, and you lost 2 to 3 seconds to everyone in the final sector.
Yeah, I broke my rear wheel.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah. I would say you have the tight corners, and then you. I broke the wheel there. That's why I lost the 10th position, because I was not going for a podium for sure. I think if you keep a normal time without the rear wheel problem, I was like 7 or 8, and what cost me this place, and what cost me the top 10 overall.
Yeah,
because of 11, which is terrible just for that. So, but
you were only 3 points behind Greg, I think, who got 10 in the overall.
Yeah, maybe.
So it was a great season for the team, but it was a bit of a strange end to the season because Amaury won the overall, but he didn't have a great race in Val di Sole. Miriam won in Val di Sole and finished second in the overall. You ended up 11th, just 3 points behind Greg, as I just said. Commensal Mukov took the overall team prize, but it wasn't that euphoric end that racers. I think everybody who races wants that euphoric finish to a season, don't they? Where they come down, they win the last person down the hill, they win the race to take the overall, to win everything. That's the ultimate kind of prize.
Yeah, for sure.
Did it feel a bit strange to you as a racer at the end of the season, given the teams won?
Yeah, it was really strange for me because the end of the season, it's where I was the better on the bike, and I was feeling good. And for me, it was like, oh, I want more race, I want more World Cups.
Yeah.
And for sure, for the team, they were a bit disappointed not for Miriam, for sure, because she won, but Amaury crashed. Me was not really good. But at the end, even if I was 11, I marked some points for the team overall, and it's because of me a little bit that we can win this overall. So it was really good, but it just made us more angry to do better next year and to be stronger, for the team.
Racing is so strange because, as you've just said, you've had your hardest year ever in junior and elite. Charlie Hatton, who is 24 years old, an amazing rider, one of the best British riders. He's had the best season of his career. He's finished 12th in the overall behind you. And it's how people look at things is very different. You're only 21 and you finished 11th. I think at one point when me and Emmy were chatting on the pod, I described this as being like a difficult second album. When a band has a really big hit single, a big hit album, and then they come back and they've got to try and replicate that success. How do you feel about it now when you look back? Are you just hungry to go again?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just angry. I already think a lot about what happens. So now I'm really into the future, and I will be more prepared than ever for next year, for sure.
So, what are you working on? Anything specific? Are you back on the bike now?
Yeah, for the moment, I'm not training really hard. I'm just going for MX ride, e-bike, and cool races. We have the time to be prepared. The next season is far away, but I just try to enjoy the time on the bike and try to have some fun and slowly back into proper training and hard training.
Yeah. So, when do the team camps start?
I don't know yet. I think maybe before the end of the year.
Yeah.
I think maybe one, and then the same reason as we did the past few years. I don't know yet. I need to talk about that with the friend's brother, with the boss.
Yeah. And you've had a few weeks off since the end of the season. Tell us a bit about where you've been going.
Yeah, for sure. I took, I don't know, more than a month.
Yeah.
I have no more battery. Can you hear me?
Yeah. It's fine. Yeah.
Without these things.
I nearly made it.
After Val di Sole, we had French champs where I was really good, but I crashed once again. But
does it feel a bit like every time you've gone really fast this season, you've crashed?
Yeah, for sure. There was really fast, but I crashed. But that's it. Then I just enjoy for 1 week. I ride a lot of moto and karting, and then I had surgery to remove the plate I had in my right feet. So this took me off for 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. The first week you're like just walking and not doing crazy stuff, and then days after days you can do more stuff. And then I went a few days with my friend in Dubai. I also went to Spain, and last week we were in Cap Breton surfing with the team. It was a team camp, but vacation.
Fun one. Yeah, fun. Cool. That looks wicked. Are you a good surfer?
Not really. It's fun to do, but I hate going back to, in the sea to take the wave. I like thinking when you need to go back, it's horrible. So that's why I did twice surfing, but it's enough for me.
Tell us just a bit about French national champs. Have you won that before as a junior?
In junior, I won in youth category in junior, in junior I won the junior title plus the elite title in the same year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. Because you had
But
the fastest
then,
time.
Nothing crazy.
And you were really going for it this year because the other guys were they weren't really feeling it, were they? Loic and Loris and Amaury, I don't think.
No, Loic was going really fast because I think he did second or third. I don't know.
Yeah, he did actually. Yeah.
Amaury was, I think, when you are maybe in practice, everybody was a bit chilling. For us also, we were testing. We were not really focused as on World Cup. But when you're on the start gate, you are giving everything. So, no, everybody was going really fast, and Antoine was going really fast. He won the race, and even it was impressive. And Benoit also was pushing really hard, but he had a flat tire, and but the track was really good also. It was a bit of French champs, French Cup track, but it was fun to ride. It's good to end the season on it was not an easy track, but it was not really hard as Val d'Isole, because if after Val d'Isole you have another track like that, back home holiday now. We're going to the beach.
And tell us a bit. One thing you just mentioned, all the talent that the French have got at the minute. What was it like being on that team at Worlds? Being with that team is so stacked with talent.
Yeah, for sure, it's amazing to see. I don't even know why all the French riders are so fast at this time, because you can see maybe 5 or maybe 7 years ago when Loic was in junior, he was maybe one of the only one fast. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong, but
no.
I think it's that. And just a few years after, you have so many riders coming. So it's so good to see that, and I hope it will stay like that for a few years. And I hope the young guys, the younger generations are going to be faster.
And you all get on pretty well, don't you? Did you ride? Sorry? You all get on very well. You're good friends with Loic and Loris.
Yeah, for sure. We're all friends, for sure.
And did you ride together at Worlds?
No. Also, no, I didn't ride with anybody at Worlds. I was a bit alone.
Keeping your lines to yourself.
Yeah.
Cool. So tell us a bit. You're going to Corsica this weekend. French Cup is.
Yeah, I think it's a French Cup. I'm doing it on the e-bike. So.
Oh right.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I will ride flat pedals or not, but today I try to ride flat pedals, so maybe I will ride flat pedals.
And is this an enduro? Is this a downhill?
Yeah,
Enduro.
Yeah,
right.
Enduro.
Okay.
And French Cup, I'm pretty sure I need to check, because I don't even know where I'm going. So I'm going
there uphill stage as well, like in the EWS, or no?
Sadly, I think, but I don't know. I don't even know how it's working. I just I'm going with my bike. I'm riding my bike, having some fun, and we'll see how it's working. I hope I will have enough battery.
Do you think we might see you on the EWS at some point?
I was supposed to do finale.
Right.
But I prefer to have the surgery and, having more time to be prepared and enjoy after than doing finale and being have the surgery after. So, but maybe if there is one race before the downhill season, just to get prepared, to have the good physique. But no.
I think it's good you didn't do a finale.
Yeah,
it was really very hard.
I need to choose the good venue because it's for me to do some appeals. Maybe
Martin Mays was saying how they couldn't make the next stage. Almost they had to sprint to the next stage because it was too short. Like the liaison were like too short in time. So they all had like maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes before they start. So apparently it was real stressful.
Oh yeah, that's something I can do. Yeah, maybe it's good to have some sprints in the stage, but between stage, you need to chill. Take the lift, or I don't know, just a few minutes of pedaling, not hours and hours. That's why I'm downhill.
Have you ever done the mega avalanche?
No, never.
Yeah,
it's so scary.
Yeah, 100 kilometers on the snow is pretty. I remember.
I can imagine that. I never tried it, but I don't know. That's something I like to watch. With some GoPros or videos, but it's too dangerous to do that. When you have a season to do like the World Cups, you cannot do this type of race, which is a big risk, I think. Even if it's really funny and can be interesting to do, but I think it's too much risk.
Have you done the Mega MA?
No, never.
Fancy
now
it?
You're tired, you can try.
Like you said, like now I stopped racing because I don't want to get injured. And when you race downhill, you're alone on a track. So basically, you have you can control your own fate, right? Yeah. And you are riding with other people, like hundreds of people at the time. It's just so dangerous. Like he said, like someone was like, "What happened to Tracy this year?"
Yeah,
like she got knocked out because someone ran into her and she got ridden over by another rider. You don't want that. So, I don't know. I don't feel like I want to race anymore, especially not something that physical. And I like to prepare myself for something, and I don't want to train that much anymore. So I guess this is me not racing.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks very much for coming on the show again, Thibaut. It's always great to chat to you, and we're loving following your career in Elite. I hope you can keep up going full gas again next season. That's it for this episode. Thanks to the sponsors of the show: Hope Technology, JTech Suspension, Revolution Bike Park, Ride Southern Spain, Schwalbe, and SingleTrackWorld.com. As always, if you're enjoying the podcast, please subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you've got a sec, please drop us a review. Alternatively, please give us a follow on Instagram at Making Up the Numbers Racing or Facebook.com/Making Up the Numbers. We'll be back with another episode very soon.